I'm going to try and stand still for a little bit, but if I move, I'll pick this one up. Let me just hit. So I, as well as working at making music, I'm also a community musician. I run a couple of choirs in South London, and I run various different singing workshops. And for me, I'm really passionate about getting people singing who don't think they can sing, or they think that's something that other people do, but I'm not allowed to do it. And I think there's a real value in bringing singing to people, to everyone. It's a kind of universal thing that people do all over the world. I've also got a background in intercultural work, community cohesion, bringing people from different cultures together. So I'm quite interested in how music and cross-cultural working and community cohesion can act together. So over the summer, there were a number of quite big events in the UK, and a big thing that happened in June was we had a referendum and voted to leave the EU. And a few of the people in the choirs that I run were really, really affected by this decision and the kind of the impact that that has on our relationship with the rest of the world and how we're perceived. And a lot of people felt really disempowered, like there's this big event going on and there's now a load of, like, there's a rise in race crime, and there was quite a feeling of disempowerment, and how can we as individuals do something about that? Where's the space for us to do that? So I set up a series of events called Singing for Unity. So Singing for Unity, what it is basically a big kind of open public space singing workshop, singing songs that celebrate diversity and togetherness and unity. And basically, I gather a group of people together and teach people songs on the spot. So really, really simple songs that are easy to learn and very, very immediately can bring people together, using singing as quite a powerful way to come together with people in your community that you might have never spoken to before, you might have nothing in common with, but just really using it as a kind of glue to bring communities together. So can we hop on a little slide, please? Next slide. So yeah, basically, to take part, this is how we talked about it. You just need to have this belief that ultimately we've got more in common as a community. You don't need to know the words of anything in advance. You don't need to have a good voice, whatever that means. You don't need to be able to read music. You can just come along, and that sense of wanting to be part of a community is all you need to do it, really. Next slide, please. So the first event we held in Brixton in the middle of July, so this is a little slide from it here. We had about 70 people, 60 or 70 people came along, and it ran for about an hour just outside the cinema in Brixton, so quite a public space, lots of people passing through. Quite a lot of people from my choirs came along and brought people, and people in the street stopped and joined in, and some people stopped and sang, and some people stopped and listened. But it had a really positive impact in the community. There was quite a lot of local press down there, quite a lot of write-ups about it afterwards, which was really exciting. So if we could just move on to the next slide as well. This is just another picture from that day as well. We had, because a lot of the workshop I was physically teaching songs as we went around, it was difficult to be teaching and explaining what we were doing. So we had quite a lot of signs just so passers-by could see what we were doing. Next slide, please. And as a result of that first one, which was intended as a one-off activity, people kind of caught wind about it and wanted there to be more. So we ran, there have been 5 to date, so mainly ones that I've run in London, but then other people have started picking up on this idea. And so there was an event that happened in Cardiff as part of Hope Not Hate, which is a big campaigning organisation that does a lot to eradicate racism. They put on an awareness weekend in the beginning of September, and so a fellow colleague of mine ran an event as part of that in Cardiff. And there were also plans, colleagues of mine in Liverpool and in Reading are talking of setting up similar kind of things, which is really exciting to see it kind of starting to grow as a bit of a movement. So if we can move on to the next slide. And so I just wanted to share a couple of quotes because I think it was just a really exciting thing that illustrated the positive impact that just little injections of things in communities can have. So this first little quote here, I'll read it from here. I live in Brixton, and I was out for a moment's stroll when I passed all the lovely people singing. It was a beautiful half hour spent listening, and it made my day. It was Joe who walked past us singing. And again, just really nice that when I was talking to people that were feeling that because their accent wasn't a British accent, they weren't sure how they'd be reacted to on public transport or speaking out loud in public. And so just actually singing songs that are about, do you know what, it's fine, we're all one world together and we don't need to have these divisions between us. had a really positive impact. And then if we can just go to the next slide. There's another quote here from one of the participants that took part. So he said, "The events of the summer felt so disempowering, and it seemed like there wasn't much I could do. Singing for Unity proved me wrong. We could go out into the community and reach people, showing them that they were welcome, and that felt amazing." So for the people that took part in it, as well as the passers-by on the street, it just felt like a really positive example of ways that people can connect in their communities and stand up for what it is that we want to have and a kind of the type of society that we want to live in. I'm doing another event. I don't know if anyone's going to be in London on Saturday, but as a result of these events that we did, Southwark Council is putting on a whole week of events this week as part of National Hate Crime Awareness Week. And on Saturday, they've asked us to run another one of these events in Peckham in South London. So at 12 o'clock on Saturday in Peckham Square, I'm going to be doing the same thing again, and teaching some very simple songs and getting the community together, just sort of spreading that message of unity and togetherness, which is, really exciting. I'm not sure where it's going exactly, this movement, but it just feels like something really positive and a way that singing and choirs can be used, not just as a way of coming together and making music together, which is beautiful in its own right, but kind of as a vehicle for social justice and community cohesion, something more than just the music in its own pure right. And what I'd really like to do with you now is just to demonstrate how easy it can be to... oh, everyone's like, I know what's coming now. Yeah, I just thought just to demonstrate how easy it can be with people that you don't know, and I don't know who can sing or who's sung before, or who, maybe there's a room full of professional musicians, maybe no one here has ever sung before, but just how quickly it can be, how easy it can be to get a group singing in harmony. I'd really like to share a little song with you if people are up for that, aren't they? Yeah, you are. Okay, so I'm going to invite you just to stand up. Lovely. And what we're going to do first of all, so when we sing, our whole body is our instrument. So we're just going to just have a little wriggle. Just kind of let go of any tension. Give your hands a little shake out here. Come on, a little shake out here. Lovely. And we're going to have a nice yawn together. So we're going to breathe in. Lovely. We're going to do that again. And this time we're going to yawn in that kind of way that, you know when you're really tired and you think if you yawn loud enough, someone will have sympathy and maybe bring you a little cup of coffee. One of those yawns. So here we go. Breathing in, nice deep breath. Lovely. Now we're going to do a kind of slightly competitive yawn in that you're the most tired person in the room and you're going to demonstrate that by your yawning. So here we go. Breathing in again. Lovely. We're going to, so standing, feet. My choirs get it all the time with me. Lots of different types of yawning. Standing with your feet nice and hip width apart, and shoulders are nice and upright. And someone described to me once, we've got like a smile across the shoulders, so not like a sad face, but also not a fake smile, just a regular happy smile. And we're going to take a nice deep breath in, and we're going to go. Can you all do that for me? Beautiful. And if it's difficult to roll your R's, what you can do is just put your fingers here and try it again. So here we go, breathing in. Beautiful. Let's do that one more time just for fun. Here we go, breathing in. This is not what you thought you were signing up for this morning when you walked in the door, is it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing a bit and you're going to sing it back to me. So the words we're going to sing, we are one world, one voice, one heart beating. Let's just say the words just to get them in. We are one world, one voice, one heart beating. It's going to go like this. We are one world, one voice, one heart beating. We are one world, one voice, one heart beating. We are one world, one voice, one heart beating. We are one world, one voice, one heart beating. One more time. One world, one voice, one heart beating. Lovely. So that's one part. And then we're going to have another part that's going to go like this. It's going to go, everybody living in this world, let's just say that. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world.
Everybody living in this world.
One heart beating.
One heart beating.
So we're going to go. Everybody living in this world. Let's just try that. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world. Everybody living in this world. One heart beating.
One heart beating.
I'm going to do 2 lines, you're going to do 2 lines back. We're going to go. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. My turn. Everybody living in this world. One heart beating. Everybody living in this world. One. Let's put it all together. Everybody, here we go. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world. One heart beating. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world. One heart beating. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world. One heart beating. Lovely. So what we're going to do now is put those 2 parts together. So I'm going to have this half of the room doing "We are one world, one voice, one heart beating," the first bit we did. And then we're going to do the second bit that we did. And don't worry too much if you get a bit mixed up and create your own extra part in that. That's fine. This is our little space to create our own version of this song while we're playing with it now. So we're going to start over here, we'll get up and running, and then I'll come over here and get you guys in. And then I might put another sneaky part over the top. Does that sound good? Yeah. Cool. We are one, so I'll sing it through once and then just join in the second time. We're going to go. We are one world, one voice, one heart beating. We are one world, one voice, one heart beating. We are one world. Lovely, keep it going. We're going to go. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world. One heart beating. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world. One heart beating. Everybody living in this world. Everybody's got a voice, let's use it. Everybody living in this world. One heart beating. We are one voice. We are one heart beating. We are one voice. One heart beating. We are one voice. We are one heart beating. We are one voice. One heart beating. We are one voice. We are one heart beating. We are one voice. One heart beating. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining in with that. That's how easy it can be to get a group of people singing in harmony, whether or not you know each other, you've got a background in music. And that's what I try and do in the work that I do, is just getting people to rediscover that connection. That's all I had formally to say, so I don't know if you have any questions.
Any questions? Any comments? Okay. Yuriko.
My name is Yuriko Terada from Japan.
All Japanese, I think.
Yeah. From Japan, now working in Poland at the Japanese embassy. But I used to work at the International Music Festival, so I really realized the importance to connect people together. And that time I went to Venezuela to see the L system program. I think you know it. Yeah. And I also went to Los Angeles and to see the same system.
Yeah.
And I really realized the Venezuelan government, the Ministry of Culture, sort of cultural diplomacy
Yeah.
of this program. And that program was, it was very clear that they were doing the program against poverty, against crimes, against drugs. Yeah? And I was wondering if you were trying to always make kind of message, or I mean, to your participants or to the society, how you were.
Yeah. Well, you go first.
I don't know. So I think Xenia's work for Singing for Unity probably has a different answer to this. So in terms of the groups that we have in membership, they, like I say, a lot of the time they are unconsciously doing these things rather than consciously setting out. They are starting from something they like doing, and they want to communicate to other people, and they want to share with other people, and it's through that, which starts with them, that they achieve, you know, sort of cohesion in their community and coming together through music. So we try and explain to them more what actually what benefits there are, but we also feel that we're quite hampered by a lack of research in this area in the UK. As I said, in the US there's been more about that, specifically about the community impact of music groups, and I think that would be really valuable to bring out, and therefore to, you know, for policymakers to understand that a little bit of support will go a long way to making something happen in communities in that way. So your answer may be different on that.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think there are some music groups that exist to make music, and that's fine, and there's a kind of secondary effect. I think partly because of my background, I've done a lot of work in international development and getting young people campaigning and looking at local issues, and so I'm quite excited about how working with a choir can be used as a tool for social change in the community that I'm working in. So my choirs, but this is kind of because I'm bringing together two different sectors in a way, my choirs do tend to do things like, we sang at an event in Peckham, which was the launch of Peckham Citizens, which is a community-led citizenship organisation that's standing up for the rights of people living in Peckham and looking at issues around debt and homelessness and various different issues that are affecting local people. And so I've got my choirs involved in that, but that's very much just driven from me and my want to be able to have an impact in my community, and that the best way that I can do that is with 30 people in a choir and getting them involved. But I think there's I don't know that there's much sort of space for looking at, like, if people are choir leaders and when you're training and so on, there's not much space for looking at how you can also have a positive impact on the social change level. And I think I'm just in a lucky position because I've had that background from my previous work, but I think that's a really exciting space that could be explored, is how you can make social change come about through creative ways, because then you're making the music available and accessible to everyone, but you're empowering people to have an impact on their communities as well. But I think that's quite, that's not a kind of making music answer, that's just on an individual level with the work that I've been doing. Yeah, thank you.
Can I just say something myself? You know, my daughter is, does acting besides her job. But she was asked to come and sing in a choir because a friend of hers, a close friend of hers, started a music thing, singing. And anyway, she kind of said, I can't sing. It doesn't matter, just come. And then she'd been going for every Wednesday, or sometimes she couldn't go because of her work, whatever. Like you said, very free feeling, you know. You come, she can't come, it's okay. And she invited me to, you know, they didn't, like you said, they didn't have a local venue. Perceptions also are very different. My perception of choir is like a church thing, and, you know, they're a bit boring and over middle-aged people like me, you know. And so, yeah, okay. My daughter said, look, our choir is going to sing. And I said, where? Is above a pub. I said, what? Because I was expecting it to be in a church or whatever. What they did was very clever, what they did. They asked all their friends and family to come. And the hall above the pub was used, so they get drinks and food, so they didn't have to pay anything, because there were lots of people there. But my surprise is this. It was so interesting, because my daughter they're between like ages of like 25 and 45, like girls. mainly, and some boys as well. And then it was so diverse. You know, London is very diverse there in Clapham. And then it's so diverse, it's so exciting. And you know, popular songs, they improvised. And they made lots of harmonies. It's so beautiful. I just couldn't believe it. I completely changed my thought about, you know, people coming together for music. Now, this is the musical aspect. I really loved it. But the social aspect, it was amazing. You know, I know, like, close friends of my daughter, 3 or 4, and some of their parents I've not met at all. The parents were their brothers and whatever, and a boyfriend and whatever, husband, and many people like that. And I met several people that they said, you know that woman, you know, she lives down the road from me. I've never seen her before. I've never seen her in a social context before. And then they introduce each other, etc. It's a very, very amazing experience for me. And I asked my daughter, when are you going to the next one, etc. You know, it's really exciting. You know, this comes from this one woman who decided, let's do it. And maybe she's with you. I don't even know that. And, oh, one other thing you said, older people can come here, etc. I saw 1 or 2 older people. And then they said, sign here if you want to participate. But I, by mistake, signed there, but I wanted to contribute. There was donation for something, charity. I wanted to contribute more. I didn't have money on me. But I put on the wrong paper. And they called me next week, are you coming to sing with us? I said, I'm so sorry, I don't have time. What I'm trying to say is, look, I'm double the age of those people. And they were kind of willing to have me on board. You know, it's fantastic. I think it's an excellent thing. It's more than cultural diplomacy. I think it's community cohesion, community doing things together, get to know each other. What is cultural diplomacy? Getting to know the other. And we get to know each other. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Allow me to say, of course,
Anybody
share with you one thing which I do in the music. Of course, in Islam, the music is not very seen as not very, appropriate. But of course, one of the conductors called Carl Jenkins, he approached me some time ago. It was 1,500, it was somewhere in the Whitney or somewhere, about a couple of years ago. And they said, can you come and sing for us? He had my voices. And of course, I said, we do a Islamic singing, or I'm soloist. And he has in the middle of his called war and something, war and I don't know, war.
Yeah.
Something war and peace or something like this. And in the middle, of course, you got 170 these choirs are playing, and it's about 1,000 people that were there. All, as you said, middle class with the sherry and the champagne, all middle class. And I said, well, okay, music, come with music. When I come, I have to, all the music has to stop. I do my call to prayer, is a call to prayer. You do a beautiful call to prayer. And after that, I'll go. And he said, okay. And he would stop when they said, the time came, and one of the persons said, it's your time. And they stopped all. I went in there. And I read, of course, everybody was shocked that I say, but they enjoyed. And his eyes was up, what I'm saying, when I finish, I'm trying to tell him, finished, I'm going. His eyes is closed and he doesn't get that thing. Of course, he opens and everybody stand up. That was the day had that one. Everybody stand up. We couldn't speak because in the middle has to be. And after that, they started again. But many of these ladies came and many of them, please, can we know and can we do that? It was a beautiful experience of the perhaps music and Islamic music and the classic. I never seen it anywhere else because we are totally different. But classic and the Islamic music joined together is a great man that Carl Jenkins. I don't know, you know him or not?
Yes, we do know him. We've just awarded him one of our prizes, actually.
Yeah, he's very, very, very famous.
Yeah.
He's a good person. Sorry, that's all I want to say.
My question is, what you just did there was excellent. I'm not a very good singer. You can ask my children that. I could actually hear myself thinking, and I said, I can do it. But anyway, my question is, music is closer to the heart of every community. Every community, they have their folk songs. They have their special events every year. Like Dr. Ramzi has just said, Islamically, obviously, people say, but I defer to that. No matter how religious you are, for example, in Afghan culture, we have atan, they call it atan. and it's music done by drums and the tabla, they call it. And no matter how religious you are, and you could be the mufti of the mosque or something, but when that starts, Isis just jumps in and starts dancing with it and starts singing. My question is, like you said in the beginning, that it's a voluntary, obviously a voluntary organization, and you don't get any funding from the government, but you do have 12% of other means of income, like through voluntary contributions and maybe.
Yeah, so we're funded about 85% by membership subscriptions. So we help groups to organise themselves and help them to put on concerts. And so they pay us a membership subscription, which we try and keep as low as possible. And we also have a little bit of other earned income through various commercial things, and then maybe about 10% we do get some project funding, public funding, maybe towards specific projects that we run.
Right. Do you sponsor or support any of the local activities, project fundings? You know, say if there's local groups in the community, community projects. No.
We don't have the funding to do that. About 30 or 40 years ago, that was the case, that we were able to give out grants, but that stopped a long time ago. But what we do help, we help groups kind of promote themselves and find ways of running themselves that are affordable. So a lot of groups are themselves membership organisations, so you might contribute something. So that, if they want to be really open access, that could be tricky, do you know what I mean? Because people can't afford to. So a lot of them try and do separate fundraising events, you know, like many charities do, so that they can give free membership to people. And they also would like to run free concerts, but a lot of them have to pay for the venue that they perform in, and so they will charge for tickets. But having said that, there are ones that, you know, are open, and I don't know, you charge for yours on just a when you turn up basis, so that, you know, Xenia can cover the venue hire. But are your concerts free? I know that, yeah, so Claire, who's one of our trustees, her choir also, they have free concerts, so anybody can come, and they just ask for a donation. And so obviously, if I were to go, I would put in a donation, but, you know, if someone goes who hasn't got a job, you know, they could come to the concert and be perfectly welcome without a donation.
And again, some groups will link up with a local charity in their community, and the charity will ask them to put on a concert. So, so for example, there's one of the groups that I run, we're supporting a local Southwark Law Centre, which is a legal advice centre for people that can't afford legal advice. And they're putting on a 40th anniversary event in a couple of weeks, and it's I think they're partly fundraising as well to support their activities. And we're going to go and sing at that, so you can support groups in the community, and then maybe they'll be able to raise money at it. So although our groups might not fundraise and give money physically, you can donate time and you can perform.
This is what I meant,
Yeah, exactly.
not necessarily funding as money, but it could be equipment, it could be the time support.
Oh yeah, no, they do a lot of that. Our members do a lot of that, and if they you know, either at other charities fundraising events, that's a really good model, or they might link up with, say, the local hospice, and then the local hospice fundraiser might come along and speak before their concert, and you know, be allowed to raise funding at that event. So that's another model. So they do an awful lot of that, like I say, because they themselves are often constituted as charities, and they see their purpose as giving something back. So they will go and sing, like I say in hospitals or care homes a lot of the time, you know, where there are residents who can't be moved out to any events, and they go and do music with them. So there's all that kind of activity. So there is a lot of motivation there to give back to the community. Yeah.
Unless there's another question, I have one other comment to make. You said, you know, it's a church-based thing that people can't participate that freely. However, you know, like I think 5-6 years ago, it's still going on, I think. I went to, it's called Voices, Sacred Voices. It was amazing because, you know, a little bit like everybody sang, you know, like Hindus sang and whatever, and the Christians and everything, and gospel singers. But then they did a bit of what you did, everybody coming together, a few of each people, and they stood there. It was absolutely amazing. There was nothing as harmonious as that I've ever seen, you know, because you saw them separately, you see. And music is just fantastic to bring people together, even beyond, I mean, of course there's religious music, but then you could do it together. Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think it's still going on. I've only been once, unfortunately. It was out of town somewhere. I was invited. But yeah, it's all good, what you're saying. Maybe we should apply it. Maybe we should invite you one day to do something with us. Yeah, thank you. Anybody? Do you have time? Is that it?
This is not a question, just a remark. Sorry. What I want to say basically is that I think the only common language that exists in the world is music. Yes. No, actually, I'll tell you why.
I can tell you it's football, music.
No,
It's football.
I don't like football.
And if you're romantic, it's love.
Okay, I don't like football, for instance, but for music, I know of people several times that speak, let's say, for instance, French or German, and they like a particular music written out in Yoruba, which is an African language. When you see them sing that song, they will sing it so perfectly with those words, but they don't know the meaning of the words. So it's a good thing. And it's probably the only universal language that I know of. Thank you.